up, RotoGrinders? Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. It's a very intimate show, just myself and Kirkwood, a.k.a. Kid Yahoo, a.k.a. Kid MMA. Kirkwood hooking me up with the MMA winners last week. Do appreciate that. You're going to spoil me now. You went 3-0 with the ones you gave me. So now you set the bar of expectations. Appreciate that. We have sports gambling now in Florida. One book, but whatever. We have it. It's a thing. And dabbled in the MMA street. So do appreciate the winners there, Kirkwood. And how are things for you on a Wednesday? This is not an MMA show, but I just want to give you a shout out. I did shout you out on Twitter too. I'm sure you get the old the Twitter bump. At least maybe one new follower. I don't know.
I'll keep you on the platinum package. The platinum package. So you'll get all as soon once I make a play, you'll get the alerts. And
so you give me a taste, and now I'm hooked, and all of a sudden now for life I'm attached to your picks. Is that what's going on?
I hope not, but personally, I would. It sounds terrible. But you were good. You put some skin in the game. So you had your confidence in me, and so you'll be rewarded for that.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to ask you and then just not use them. That'd be rude.
Yep. I know. I thought you were hacked when I got the DM from you. I said, "Is this your account been hacked?"
It's like, why?
Yeah. So I smashed that slate every single which way. I went like 6-0, but I only gave you my best 3 because I was a little shaky on the others, but they all won. But then I screwed up on Sunday, man, so bad. I took myself off of. I did a swap right before the 4:00 games because I thought I had 10 points to make up, but I did have McBride. So I had Keenan Allen and McBride going left, and everyone else had Keenan Allen. They beat me at the running back because I had Aaron Jones, and then I wasn't confident that McBride could. Everyone had what's his name from Jacksonville. I'm just drawing a blank for a second because I'm doing 10 things at once. Ingram. And so I didn't feel confident he would beat him, so I changed it to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Kyle Pitts, and I would have ended up having the nut lineup on Yahoo. Like I would have won all the money. So instead of winning like 20K, I lost 10K. So I was feeling pretty bad about that all week. But that's why NBA is here. So we get to make it back every day this week. Are you on mute or am I on?
It's a brand new day. I was on mute. Bad job by me. Yeah, unbelievable. That we've hit the mute quota. That's it. No more mutes throughout the rest of the show. But yeah, this is the Goldilocks slate, right? It's an 8-gamer, Kirkwood. Can't get this one wrong. Just right.
Bigger news than that. I got reminded to check my crowns because I saw Bobby hit 500K crowns from the prize chest.
Does he run good or does he run good?
What?
He runs good, that Bobby.
Yeah, so I opened up my prize. I hate this. I hate this promo. I hate everything about it. I've tried to yell at Aguiar and say, why do you do this? Because all it does is cause me pain every single week. And then everyone on Twitter is gloating about it. And then, I get my 20K every week. And I hit 500K today. So this is, I don't know if they're doing it. Yeah. So
that's like $600 or something like that? Maybe no, that's more than that, isn't it? It's like $800.
I think it's like 900 or something.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But rumor is Noto is going to hit it too.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
All three of the tournament takes.
I mean, yeah. Congrats, all three of you guys. That'll be pretty impressive for sure. The Tournament Takes podcast that drops on Friday night. Is that correct for NFL? I think Friday night's when you guys usually record that.
Yeah, late. It depends whether Devin's asleep yet or if he is awake to put it up. It's either that or Saturday morning it gets put up.
I keep threatening that I'm gonna join that show one of these weeks. I'm just gonna invite myself and join the party. And
you gotta bring some energy. It might be a little too energetic of a show for you. I don't know if you can handle it. It's like
I listened to that show at 1.5 speed. And I'm like, hey, this is my shirt.
You know what? We're gonna invite on Taylor, and really bring the energy, all of us.
Taylor's going to be on with Andy Means on Crunch Time, about an hour or so, with Kevin Roth as well. Yeah, little tease there. As far as who's in and who's out on the slate tonight, it's a tricky one because we have 2 national TV games, right, and 2 superstars playing the back half of back-to-back on national TV. Embiid's got a hip, he's questionable. LeBron's got a calf, he's questionable. I mean, ESPN, that they want these guys to play on national TV. Their nonsense isn't really working as far as their injury report. But I really think both these guys, like Embiid, there's no way Embiid backs down from Boston, and he's fine. He's fine. LeBron, he played 22 minutes last night. He barely played. I know he's like in year 72, and he's like 47 years old. That doesn't work math-wise, but you know what I mean. Year 21, it's outrageous. He's still so good. He's questionable as well. They're both going to play, right? You tell me. We don't know this for certain. We have ifs for it, but it's 2 big pieces to the slate. I'm just assuming they're playing. Is that wrong of me to assume that?
No, you're entitled to your own opinions, Dean. Nobody can tell you whether it's right or wrong at this point.
Yeah, well, it's a guess, but I feel like it's an educated guess. But they're going to play on ESPN, right?
That's what I'm thinking, but yeah,
we'll see. We have Phoenix the first time this year. I want to say it's the first time this year we're going to have Beal, Booker, and Durant. Your boy Jaylen Brown, he was not at the shoot-around today, so he's ill. He's questionable. We'll see if he gives it a go. It's not a back-to-back for Boston. They didn't play yesterday. I don't think they play tomorrow. Yeah, there's 7 teams to play tomorrow. 7 teams, 7 of the 16 are on the front end. That's the Hawks, the Sixers, the Magic, the Mavericks, the Blazers, the Wolves, and no, these are on the back end. That's what I meant to say. I said that incorrectly. They don't play tomorrow. They all played yesterday. Hawks, Philadelphia, Orlando, Dallas, the Wolves, the Lakers, and the Blazers. Another reason for probably the old back-to-back for Dallas is why we got I figure we get a questionable tag on one of their stars. Kyrie has a questionable tag. So a lot of stuff up in the air. Who knows about Boston? It's not just Jaylen Brown, but Porzingis is a knee. He's questionable. I'm thinking he plays, but I don't know. That's just my guess. Dennis Schroeder, he's got a knee also. He's questionable. OG Anunoby, I think he's officially doubtful, but we're assuming he's not going to play. At least I'm assuming he's not going to play. And there's other stuff too I'm sure I missed, and we'll get it as we go along. Only one 7:00 game, that Washington game against Dallas. Again, that game will be a lot more interesting, I think, from a DFS perspective if Kyrie is out. But give me your screenshot as far as the slate. What are you seeing? What are you looking at? What's standing out to you? What do you want to focus on before we go little game by game?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to focus on everyone in chat saying we're the low energy podcast, the low T podcast. Get that. What do you want? It's first of all, it's free. Second of all, we're 3 fathers, and we have to do it late at night on a Friday night because we have NBA responsibilities and everything. So we're all a little tired by the time we do it. But, we sacrifice our lives for the people, but the people, all they do is complain. So
I have a lot of options to click on. You got to sell me on it. And you're just saying, look, we're gonna give half effort.
Reason why, because the info is good. Because the info is good. Always bring the info. Always bring the whatever.
Would you like energy and bad info or no energy and good info? Is the question you're asking?
I'll bring the energy next. I'm just gonna Ric Flair woo every single pick. Woo! after every pick.
Yeah, bring the energy.
We'll have you on and you direct the energy. We'll drink a couple beers and we'll do it.
Official energy direct. I'll smash a couple monsters pre-show or something like that. But and also week 11, week 12, week 30. This is it's the same conversations we're having over in football. I think it feels like, at least we're on the back end. I'll be talking about football tonight later on with the Pick 6 crew. Myself, John Daigle, Rich Rebar. Check that out 9:00, and of course listen to that on your podcast streams as well. All right, give me your screenshot. What are we looking at as far as the slate? It's an 8-gamer. We got plenty of time. We have an hour until we yield to Andy Means, Taylor Smith, Kevin Roth. Anything really standing out that you want to mention before we kind of dive in?
No, we're waiting on huge news. Like all this stuff is like massive. Kyrie's big news for Luka. Jaylen is big news, and Porzingis is big news for some Celtics value. Like Tatum should go berserk if they're out. This It's interesting though, because this is a big game against Philly after they just lost. And then Schroeder and Anunoby and Gary Trent. I mean, so that's big just because the amount of bodies. So that'll be impactful. I don't really care about RJ Barrett because
Hart and quickly get bumps, but yeah,
Hart's fine, but quickly's dead to me after the other night. So I need a little period to get over that one.
So he's dead to you, but you'll forgive him in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's too recent. I just can't give in yet.
Is this your first time playing DFS, Kirkwood? You know these are not rules you should live by. You got to forgive, man. No. If everybody screws you over, is dead to you.
I've come to realize you need to live by these rules. You need to be vigilant and stand and stand on by your guns, and it will all work out in the end. But just like
you tell me, Joel Embiid didn't screw you one night. Like, of course he did.
That's different. Like, of course, he's frustrating. Like, he smashed last night. But he leaves so much on the table on the defensive end. He's so lazy on the defensive end. He doesn't protect the rim.
He works really hard, man. He's out there for like a lot of minutes. It's not easy playing NBA basketball at his level.
They all work hard.
Yeah, well, okay. But I guess Malachi Flynn could be interesting if we see no Schroeder. I didn't see what his price was, but theoretically that's the guy that would pop up, especially if OG doesn't go. I did earlier in the day. I did bet Scotty Barnes alt assists on the hope that Schroeder does not play basketball tonight. All right. Anything else we should mention? Trae Young, we're expecting him back after having his child, taking on New York. Anything else we should mention before we kind of do the old game by game? It's an 8-gamer. Got plenty of time. We'll have our eye on the news as well. Should we do the whole should we wait on Dallas? I'm going to let you call this one because we might get news, and waste our time, talking about Dallas as far as Kyrie. That's a big deal. Your call.
I mean, Chop said it best. This show is the appetizer. It's to entertain people before their main course, which is Andy Means and Taylor Swift. They're going to come on.
I have to get that right.
What? Taylor?
You're thinking of football still. You said Taylor Swift.
I was joking.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. Gotcha. Did you hear the big news that Taylor Swift's that the parents are gonna meet Monday Night Football? It's on my Twitter. Yeah, the game wasn't big enough. Philadelphia versus Kansas City. No, wait, is that Monday night or Sunday night? I think it's one of the night games. Doesn't matter.
I muted Taylor Swift on Twitter.
Really? Are you that? You couldn't take it?
I just didn't. I was over it.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Very first game on the slate. It's the first one. It's Washington, the Wizards. They're horrific. They're pretty terrible. I'm stalling. I'm saying adjectives because I just closed my page by accident. Bad job by me. Well, we know the Wizards are at home. They're playing basketball against the Mavericks. 244.5 is a total. That is a monster total. Dallas currently a 5.5-point favorite. I think that's the biggest total on the board. And Kyrie, if Kyrie plays, certainly you can play him. Luka's still great, but his ceiling is hit just a little bit. No Maxi Kleber for what it's worth. If he doesn't go, Luka becomes, you just do your best to find the money for him. We have an if-then here, Kirkwood, for if Kyrie happens to sit tonight. And a median projection for Luka, 37 minutes, 66 points, 66 plus points. I cut off the decimals on DK, 63 on Fanduel. I mean, just a wild big spend. Just awesome. He's going to control the offense, control everything, basically. Triple-double and layaway against this horrific Washington team. But I guess first, what if Kyrie's in? If Kyrie's in, it's like, I don't really need anything on Dallas. I'm fine with Luka. I'm fine with Kyrie. But I don't think I'm prioritizing it because then, I don't think Luka is going to get me 70 or 75. He can, but less likely.
I mean, this. Well, first of all, if he's out, obvious, it's just like the most obvious play ever. I mean, Luka has the best role in the NBA, period, even with Kyrie. So he's in play regardless, especially in this matchup. Facing the Wizards they're playing at the fastest pace. They're 28th in defensive rating. they're, fast and don't play D and give a bunch of peripheral stats, you would think that, they'd be able to keep it close, or, not, you're hoping this isn't a blowout either way. And so it should be a good competitive game. So you have to like this game environment. So either way, Luka's in play, but he's basically a lock if Kyrie's out. But I think Kyrie's going to play.
Do you like Kyrie?
No.
Do you like anybody in Dallas if Kyrie's in? You're supposed to like players against Washington. I'm not saying you should, like you have to, but the book says you're supposed to play players against Washington. But Dallas is a weird team where they just have the two guys and everybody else is just whatever.
I mean, you've got 35+% usage, absorbed by Luka, and then maybe you could. Let's see here. I mean, Kyrie, you could play, but Kyrie's cheap on DK, so it's actually not a bad play if he does go. But yeah, I mean, do you really want to play guys like Josh Green, Derek Lively?
No.
Yeah, so no we're not. We're not going.
I did bet Lively's rebounds over, though. So there you go. There's another bet I threw out there.
You're going. You can't help yourself, huh? So what's your process for sports betting right now? We've got time. We can. What are you doing? Are you using the scores and odds plays? Are you?
I look at scores and odds stuff. I like to try to get stuff the night before. Again, I only have one book here, and it's a monopoly. It's not worth getting into, but whatever. It's better than nothing, I suppose, if you use it right. Yeah, the actual like their lines, the regular lines are not spectacular, and sometimes, but like I like the alt stuff. If you get like an extra one or an extra two, that kind of thing, I hit some weird, and their alt lines are not that terrible. Some of them basically, but my process. I also look at the projections. RG has the projections up depending on usually like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning for like the next day. Now that stuff's going to change. It's just the initial stuff, but I look for sort of outliers. There is the what's the name of the page? I should mention it now. Like props and pick'em, the props and pick'em page. I also look at teams' tendencies as far as if they give up threes, if they get they get crunched in the paint, that kind of thing. Who gives up the most rebounds? I believe Washington's given up the most rebounds this season amongst all teams. So there you go. That's the reason why I'm on Lively. Let me just go ahead and confirm this. If I go, let's see, team rebounds per game. Oh, I should find the opponents. But yeah, that's. And by the way, both these teams are vulnerable on the inside. Gafford is not like my favorite play, but I think he's playable. I suppose you need like a cheap center. He seems to get injured. He has that Anthony Davis thing in him, but like nobody like notices it. But he seems to leave a game like I don't know once every 4 times or something goofy like that. But yeah, it's just rebounding against Washington. They miss a ton of shots, and they're not a great rebounding team. So I believe. I'm going to confirm this now since I brought it up or since you asked me. Yeah, NBA team opponent rebounds per game. Washington's gives up 59.1 per game, which is the most in all of basketball, and it's almost 2 more than the second worst team, which is Chicago. So there you go. That's the reason for that. And also, Noto wrote it up as well, and he wrote it up at like 5.5, like minus 120, and I think I got it at 8 and like at 11, and we got some juice, and we're just hoping for some. And I think I bought the regular number too, but yeah. The people don't want to hear the entire process. I'm still kind of figuring it out as well, like on the fly, but it's worked. It's worked for me so far. Do you have a process, Kirkwood? Is there something that you sort of lean on when it comes to these things? Gut feelings. You go to the picks and props and pick them. Anything that kind of like stands out for you?
I haven't done it because I don't want to get my. I've already been limited.
Yeah.
And there's no faster way to get limited than by the props. So, but and I like the action. So like yes, there's a part of me who wants to be like the plus EV and make money, but there's also a part of me who wants to degen on a Sunday night football game or a Monday night football game or 2 a.m. Chinese women's tennis match, anything like that.
Do you watch it?
No, you see a little screen and it looks like Pong. It's a little like
you watch the dots. That's what you do.
Yeah, the dots.
Oh.
Yep.
Unbelievable. All right.
All reasonable stuff that I want to be in. But I've been limited, especially on MMA. But so what people should do for a process is they should get onto my platinum plan for getting the same access that you have, Dean. And then people will.
You can use my quote and put it on the banner or something. I don't know.
On the website.
Yeah.
Testimonial.
Yeah, who's this Dean character?
No, but I my process for MMA is sick. Like it takes me a lot of time. I watch a lot of like fight tape and stuff.
Look at you grinding the tape. You got your hand in the mat.
And then I used to do baseball props, but that like nothing gets you limited faster.
Yeah, well, I will bet sides and totals too, and I kind of mix it up, and that's my understanding as well. And I'm not here giving advice, but that's what I've heard from people that have been limited. Like you're supposed to also kind of throw a couple donkey bets from the start, quote unquote donkey bets, like betting big favorites, that kind of thing. Like people's bets, the public bets. Bobby says hand in the mat. There you go. There he caught it. We had that conversation from yesterday. Bobby in chat, who's like really rich now. He was rich. He's already won $1 million, and now he wins 500,000 crowns as well. Who runs better? Washington. According to Steven chat, apparently they're going to have an update on Kyrie in about 15 minutes or so. My guess on the update, game time decision. That's going to be your update. It's going to be worthless. Washington, what do you have as far as the Wizards?
Kuz, always, right? That's your preferred play. Right behind him would be Jordan Poole, who's been terrible, but had a decent game, got 35 minutes in the last one. Like it's going to come. You must like those videos circulating around of him and the timeouts.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And like, what does he care? Like, he's got his money.
Although last night was a banger of a night. I mean, that fight was awesome right off the beginning. Like to see Draymond choke out Rudy, and then did you see Pat Beverly today talk about it on his podcast?
No, I didn't see Pat Bev. I saw Gobert's comment. What did Pat Bev say?
Pat Bev was saying, he was like, Draymond knew exactly what he's doing. First of all, he did Gobert, and he knows nobody likes Gobert, and on the team, so nobody's going to step in. And then afterwards, he's like, I just choked out Gobert, and nobody did anything. So come playoff times, screw this team is not even a real threat. That's what Pat Beverly was like explaining it by. So he's on that Draymond level. They both have that same mentality. So it was pretty interesting listening to them.
What was great is the Warriors broadcast tried to like sell it like Draymond was being peacemaker, which is hilarious. It's like, what are you like? There's homerism, and then there's like being outrageous. If you heard,
if he went to sleep, that would have been bananas. Because like if nothing bad really it would have just looked bad. People who know in MMA, you just pass out for a few seconds, and then your air comes back and you wake up. So that would have been like ridiculous if he actually put him out.
5 games, 10 games. What does he get? Like he did like a full sprint from like the other side of the court to jump in there. How long is he gonna get suspended for?
Yeah, I did see that some John Hendrickson's talking about how Draymond always gets himself ejected, doesn't want to play when Steph is out, is what Gobert was saying. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah. That was part of Gobert's quote. He was just trying to get out of there.
Gobert has to feel like a clown, like that. You know what I mean? First, he brought COVID. He brought COVID to the world. Now he got choked out by Draymond.
I don't think that's accurate. Anything else as far as this game, as far as Dallas, Washington, you want to focus on? You mentioned.
I got one sneaky play.
Okay, I hope you don't think Kispert is sneaky because he apparently is getting.
No, I don't. Why is he getting ownership?
I think it's because we don't really have amazing value, but I think this is going to change. We just got let's see, we got a new batch, and I'm looking at this too, and I'm like, how is Kispert getting 23% ownership? He's 4K. His projections 21 fantasy points, which is like fine, but how many minutes are we giving him? 24 minutes. 0.75 fantasy point minute guy. Like I don't really see it. Like I don't.
You know what you do? You it's only saying that because he's no value has opened up yet. So like it's being forced onto him. By the time any of these games goes off, he's not going to be. But I have one like super diamond in the rough here is Tyus Jones. I think he's got a higher minute ceiling in this game because of his defense. So if he stays out of foul trouble, I think he could be kind of a sneaky play in this game.
You're saying that like they encourage defense in Washington, that they want to lose. How if you watch the game against Toronto? That was outrageous.
They're out there to play ball.
Yeah, but I think that they're doing weird stuff with rotations in Washington, which is my concern. We've seen Kuzma get his minutes cut sometimes. We've seen Jones get his minutes cut sometimes. But
theoretically, this game on ESPN?
No, ESPN's got the Wizards. Or maybe it's on the Ocho. Maybe it's not on ESPN. Are you
It's on nothing.
serious?
It's on absolutely nothing. Did you sign up for
Yeah.
an ESPN bet account yet? Oh, you don't have that info
Yeah,
yet.
there's a monopoly, and yeah, I unfortunately no, but I did get an email for it. They have my email, but
Yeah. So honestly, Dean, it's a real fine line you've got to flirt with to stay not limited, and because this is your only option.
yeah,
I mean
it's
that
it's
would
sort of
be
tricky.
a sad day if you wake up like Andy Means and find out they only let you bet $3.99
Oh,
because
the
you've been
worst.
hammering, because you're a basketball guy who's been hammering hockey shot props unders.
That's what a Blender. If you're watching Blender, he's like do like 100 like hockey and basketball prop stuff. He's like grinding away and grinding the edges, and he seems to be crushing. He's doing a good job. Watch his show in the afternoon. He talks about this stuff. But I don't know how much DFS he's playing these days. I don't think he's playing NBA DFS. I think he's playing hockey DFS. He's doing well there too. Apparently, Tasteful Tides, Tim is helping him out. He's on his show talking through it with him. But all right, we've derailed the show. But I should say Denny Avdia on Fanduel is a really good price. He's fine on DK. He's 6'2" on DK. Denny Avdia on Fanduel to me is an awesome play at 5'7". And if you're playing cash games, very much in the cash game pool. We got to move on. Let's see. The next game is New York. New York taking on Atlanta. This is also not an ESPN. The ESPN game. The first half of the ESPN doubleheader is Boston, Philly. We'll talk about that in a second. The back half is the Lakers and Sacramento. New York, Atlanta, 230.5 is the total. It's high and it's tight, right? New York is just a 1-point favorite here in Atlanta, which seems weird. I don't know why. Is New York distinctly better than Atlanta? That seems odd, right? We might bet Atlanta here. I don't understand why Atlanta's a dog. They also knocked out New York. I guess. I don't.
But you got Trey didn't play.
He's going to play tonight. He's back from his baby.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying he's not. He's technically not on a back-to-back, although he probably hasn't slept much. But
no, he probably hasn't.
Actually, they have he's got like a house, probably a bunch of nannies already, all probably doing all the work.
Somebody else is like pretending to be his dad.
A whole team. Yeah, he probably has like a live fill-in, someone with some messed up hair, like with the.
Am I wrong to say that Atlanta probably shouldn't be like dogs here at home versus New York? That just seems kind of strange. Anyways, 230.5.
New York seems pretty good, but yeah, I agree.
They're fine. Yeah, they're basically the same team. Barrett is questionable still with his migraine. I see Evan Fournier is to be determined. I don't think it matters either way. Yeah, and Atlanta otherwise is fully healthy, right? So they're totally healthy because they have Young back. What do you like as far as New York and Atlanta? And I guess it would change a little bit if Barrett is out. Then all of a sudden we'd see Hart jump in the starting lineup, and then you mentioned quickly before maybe DiVincenzo gets a few extra minutes, but I think it's digging a little bit too deep. What do you like as far as this game, New York and Atlanta? Anything popping for you?
I'm kind of off this game mainly, but I think Julius Randle is a good play. While this price is like playable, he started off poor this season, but he's been really solid recently. It's just all about making shots with this guy. He's gonna. Tibbs runs these guys into the ground for forever. 38 minutes the other night against the Celtics in a game that they were never going to be winning. The first half they were in it, but it was they weren't going to be real hanging around there till the end. I like Trae Young. You got to like the little baby narrative, fresh legs.
Kyrie ruled out, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So Kyrie, that's so Kyrie.
Yeah. So Luka smash, but go ahead, continue.
Yep. And so some of those other guys will come into play. We'll get some fringe. At least there's like some value now.
Tim Hardaway, Green, but nothing's really going to pop.
Yeah.
None of it's really going to pop.
But playable.
Yeah. Go ahead. You're saying.
Yeah. So other than that, it's, you could play Brunson in this game. Could play Randall. Mitch Rob is cheap. But and he does have a good ceiling on games when he goes off, and this could be a good game for him down in the paint, but no one's exciting except for the Trey to me or Randall. And they're not even that exciting.
Ownership in this game on DK, we're looking at 15-16% for the Brunson burner, 14% for Randall. Mitch Rob at 7. I just never really get to Mitch Rob. He's just, he's got to get a ton of rebounds and a ton of blocks. I guess he can get there. The center nonsense with Atlanta, I generally lean to Okongwu just because he's cheaper. And, he's projected for 20. Oh, that's weird. 29 minutes for Capella and 23 for Okongwu. I don't know if that's an error. It always adds up to 40. Well, no, it adds up to 49. It's supposed to add up to 48, the center minutes. You understand what I'm saying? Like, typically, they split the center minutes. Yeah, 26 and 23. I went to UCF, but I'm pretty sure that's 48. That's not 48. That's 49.
I'm not a math guy, Dean. I don't know.
I didn't know there was going to be math, to be honest, but that's kind of a lot of what DFS is. You know that, Kirkwood. But, this game it should be kind of fun to watch. I guess you're probably watching the, we'll talk about Philadelphia and Boston in a second, but I have no priorities, but I'm okay with making like a little mini game stack. If Trey is really going to be, what do we have Young's owner? We have Young's ownership at 1%. Like, that seems outrageous. This stuff gets refined the closer we get to lock. Maybe it settles at like 3 or 4. And I'll tell you what, it's probably not going to get much higher because people are just going to pay. If they're going to pay Luka, that's that, right? And that's their one big spend. If they have one big spend. I'm curious what that ownership's going to be. And what do you think of a Luka fade? Like at 12K? If he puts up 60 points, you're fine. Like, you're fine. That's okay. You don't need that.
I think he's going to smash, but are there paths? There's foul trouble, or there's blowout by either side potentially. Although the spread's got to have just come down, did it?
I have not seen, or maybe it was kind of baked into they're anticipating. I thought Dallas would probably be a slightly bigger favorite just because Washington's so horrendous. So I don't know. Maybe they're kind of assuming it, or is this sort of like a hedge from the bookmakers? We'll see.
But from far as studs in general, we only have Luka. I mean, Tatum could shoot up in value. JoJo is there. I'm on a back-to-back, but Luka is going to be like such a better play projection-wise than these guys. But, we've got Lillard in a good spot. We've got
the line did change, by the way. Dallas is a 4-point favorite now, and it dropped. The total went down to 242.5. So down 2 points, and the line went down like 1.5 points, I want to say. So
we know that a part of your process isn't to see an alert and to hit that bet immediately, right? We've just ruled that out.
Well,
is that only because you're on a show?
Part of my process is not betting the Wizards to win basketball games. I don't, no matter what. You're going to give me 1.5 points, advantage. I did just miss it with the Minnesota news yesterday. It was yesterday with Steph Curry, and I just got locked out. I was trying to, they locked on me as I was pushing it. I got to perfect that, I suppose, but you got to be ready for sure with the alerts. Anything else you want to mention as far as Atlanta and New York? Perfectly fine plays, but nothing that like is a must. And with Young back, a lot of the value stuff we played yesterday kind of goes away.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a fun one. Is Kirkwood watching it? He's going to be watching his Boston Celtics. We'll see. Stay tuned on that. Boston is at Philadelphia tonight. The total in that game is 224.5. This is the first half of the ESPN doubleheader. Philadelphia is a 5-point dog. Embiid is currently questionable. I believe you have an if-then for that. I think we do. Maybe we don't. We do. Yeah. If he's out, Maxey would skyrocket. Tobias Harris would skyrocket. Paul Reed would get a pretty big bump. DeAnthony Melton coming off a huge game. With all 4 of those guys will be positive, like RG value plays. But as things stand right now, Embiid's a great big spend. But again, I'm guessing people are going to want to spend on Luka before they spend on Embiid. And it's really, really hard to spend on both because, wait for it, we do live in the world of a salary cap. So that's going to push down Embiid's ownership, right? We're looking at 11% right now. And this stuff is going to change. And it might get even lower. We'll see. As far as ownership in this entire game, Melton is the most popular just because, he works salary-wise at 14%, Embiid at 11%, Harris at 10%. He had a locker room stint last game. I guess he's fine. Holiday, he did come back to the game. Holiday at 7%. The Boston thing is we're assuming all these guys are in for now, but value can certainly open up if Brown sits, if Porzingis sits. I think Porzingis plays. Brown, who knows? We'll see. Wasn't at practice. He's not feeling well. But yeah, your assessment of your Celtics versus the 76ers.
I mean, I do want to play Tatum tonight if Jalen's out, and Porzingis would just be like a cherry on top. But I think Tatum's going to smash. I think that there's, after them losing this game in Philly a couple of days ago, and now getting to run it back, I think they'll probably show up. I think if Embiid is out, I mean, I guess I still don't really want to play like Tobias on a back-to-back. I think I would look towards guys like the cheaper guys like D'Anthony Melton, Paul Reed. I think Maxey would be the one guy, the one stud that probably smashes. But his price, I mean, 9,500 is kind of crazy.
He's got to smash. He's got to smash.
Yeah. But
he can.
I mean, smash he has,
Yeah, his price is ready for Embiid sitting 9.5 on DK. I think he's more expensive on FanDuel. I think he's in 5 figures over there. 9.8. He's 9.8 on FanDuel. Not going to be owned, by the way. Just not going to be owned if Embiid plays. Just throwing it out there. And kind of for good reason, but it doesn't mean he could drop 40 in the bucket. Wouldn't shock any of us. If everybody's in for Boston, you said you want to play Tatum. He's not going to get played also. Another guy just not going to get played unless things shuffle around, unless Brown sits, unless Porzingis sits, unless both of them sit. But Boston is just, they're a good team. They're all priced where they should be.
Holiday could go off too.
Why is this a good Holiday spot?
It's just like, I mean, if Jalen's out, I mean, he's like the next usage guy up. So, and he still hasn't like fully gone off yet, and his price is pretty reasonable. I mean, Derek White could have, White could be great too. So either of those guys. Sam Howell, if Porzingis, if they're both, so let's say who's going to start, right? Like, so I'm pretty confident Al Horford will start if Jalen's out, and
do nothing.
And if they're both out, it might be it might be Hauser.
I think if they're both out, it's probably Hauser. It's probably Hauser and Horford.
Would that interest you? A 4,400 Sam Hauser?
I guess he's the fourth option, right? He's probably got a better usage than Horford, but like, I would just want to play Tatum and White and Holiday more, right?
Yeah.
But he's cheap, so like, I don't know how stable the Hauser play would be. He can get replaced, like he could turn on the Pritchard theoretically at some point. I don't love it. Should we talk about Covington? Well, Covington jumped up, so like there's no worth even. I don't know if you played yesterday. If you did play yesterday, if you had Covington, he was looking like the guy that would step in and get a fair bit of minutes. Pat Bev actually closed, and Covington did not play a ton of minutes at all. He did start. He went away pretty quickly, but also his price jumped up too. So he was like 3K or whatever he was yesterday. 4.8 on FanDuel, 4.6 on DK, and we'll see if it's like dependent upon the matchup for Philadelphia as far as who their fifth guy happens to be on a given night, but it certainly was not Covington yesterday. We're projecting 22 minutes for him tonight, and also he needs all those minutes and more because he's not a good fantasy minute guy, obviously. Anything else here that's you want to point out? Anything else of note, or shall we move on?
Move on. I didn't play him last night, so I wasn't tilting. I was too busy catching up on Tout Wars, on Twitter last night. Which
I wasn't doing that.
It's been. I guess I missed out. It's been very entertaining. Especially he's had a history of. The problem is with him is he's had a history of knee problems back to back. But then you get like Nick Nurse, so you're like, oh, Nick Nurse still might play this guy. And
Brown and Porzingis are both out. Brown, Porzingis, both out. So we're smashing.
Let's go.
Now let's see if we can get some Boston stuff. We're trying to do it. We're doing it live. Let's bet some Tatum. We're not going to get it in time.
This is the process, huh? This is how you get limited.
This is the process.
This is another way how you get limited.
Yeah.
You in?
Well, I bet the Sixers plus 5.5. That's too many points, right? Yeah.
I
Let's
can't.
do
I
that.
can't. You're gonna get killed on that one.
Really? 5.5? Philadelphia?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Celtics was. What about when they announced Joel
The player
Embiid
props
out
are gone.
soon?
What's gonna? No. Come on. Embiid's he's gonna wreck. Actually, isn't Embiid like historically? Not that I'm not gonna like not play him for this reason. Doesn't Al Horford like historically play Embiid like better than pretty much anybody? Am I wrong in saying that? I think it's a thing.
There was a time. I wouldn't put much stock into Al Horford's defense at this point in his career, but yeah.
All right. Yeah. There was once a time where
there was a
kept him in
time.
check.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything we talked about so far, just throw it out. Yeah. So the Boston stuff will be interesting.
That's why we're here to entertain. We're here to entertain, and then Andy Means comes in with the kill. You know, gets everybody ready with their lineups.
The entertainment is subjective for sure, but yeah, it's gonna almost definitely be Horford and probably Hauser. Like they're gonna dust off Cornette. You're not playing Cornette, but Cornette will get some run. If anything, he'll get some fouls on Embiid. Just throw a body at him. But yeah, we'll leave this to the projection team. We'll jump back when they update it. We'll let you guys know what the update is as well. Let's move on. Milwaukee, Toronto.
Sam Hauser is going to be lighting it up. Watch.
Yeah, well, I got locked out of Sam Hauser props. I should have been in front. I thought for sure Porzingis. This is not the.
It's too bad you went really quickly and all you did was bet a loser. That's what you did. You have a loser. You have a losing bet that you placed.
Well, you know, I'm going to watch the game live, and once Philadelphia has the lead, I'm going to hedge out of it. That's what I'll do. Just
even better, even better.
Let's see. The line is now 5 apparently. So what did I get? 1.5? Was it 5.5 or 6.5? I can't read. I feel like it's worth like a point at least.
I think you got a half a point of closing line value, but wait till Embiid gets ruled out, and then.
Oh no, that's going to be the worst. Milwaukee is taking on the Raptors. 224.5 is the total. Raptors are just 2-point dogs versus Milwaukee. Why is that? Well, because Giannis Antetokounmpo is not playing basketball tonight. No Giannis. Otherwise, they're healthy and they're good to go. Well, no. Jay Crowder is out, which is somewhat meaningful. Toronto, they are up in the air, right? We don't know about OG Anunoby. He's got a finger. He's doubtful. Gary Trent's got a foot, so he's doubtful. And Dennis Schroeder, he's got a knee. He's questionable. It was that last game. He tweaked it. He gutted it out in the last few minutes or so, but he did tweak it in the fourth quarter. It was like a legit something. He was kind of limping around, but he played through it. We'll see if he plays tonight. Ownership stuff. I don't really want to quote ownership stuff anymore as a general thought because it's going to get shuffled significantly with the news that has been dropping throughout the show. But, as things stood not too long ago, as far as Milwaukee and Toronto, what was the most popular play in this game? It was Beauchamp at 33%. Like, that's no way that's going to hold up, right? Beauchamp at 3.5K is a cheapie, projected to score about 20 fantasy points. You don't feel spectacular about that. Yeah, he's not a great usage guy. He's not a great fantasy point per minute guy, and I assume he's going to mostly go away. We'll see. But Lillard should get a bump in the absence of Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Portis thing to me, I think, is like not bumped up enough. You tell me. Portis at 5'7" was only getting 23% ownership. I think that's too small. Portis loves this situation in the absence of Giannis. Now, I'm not certain he's going to start. Maybe we're projecting him. We're giving him 28 minutes. And Lopez, he sees a bump as well. Also going to get some ownership down to 5.4 because he's having a down year so far, pretty significantly. What do you like as far as Milwaukee, the absence of Giannis?
Yeah, there has, like, just without even looking at like pricing and whatnot, there has to be a situation here. There has to be, because you got Chris Middleton on a minutes limit and you've got no Giannis. So this has to be a Dame spot. No, I like Portis. I think he's the best. He's cheap, 5,700. I think he's got a good ceiling, a nice floor. It's not the same situation as in the past, new coach, but you have to like him. But like the only thing is that Lillard has been playing poorly, and there's been that nagging calf injury they keep talking about with him, but he has to go off in this spot. So this has to be the Dame spot tonight.
Yeah. Dollar for dollar, are you prioritizing Dame without Giannis over Luka without Kyrie? Or have you figured that out yet? You're going to try to get both if it's possible? And then
it's probably,
and then there's
it's got to be possible to get both now.
Well, then it's so weird because every team is without somebody, right? Tatum without Brown, without Porzingis. Yeah, no DeRozan. It's it's a lot of star, but there's no perfect cheapies that are going to be elevated. I don't think that are clear and obvious, but we'll see what kind of comes through. But it feels like a stars and scrubs kind of night though, because some of these stars should be elevated in the absence of the other stars. I'm trying to pull up the court IQ stuff. I was running it earlier today with Milwaukee, and I wanted to talk about Giannis off the court. But just trust it. It's a Dame spot. At least the opportunity will be there for Dame. We did get news on Toronto. The two ones that we thought. Trent is out and OG Anunoby is out, but Schroeder is a game time. So, and it's a 7:30 game. So 2/3 of those guys are out. If Schroeder sits, maybe Malachi Flynn season.
I would love to get him starting.
That's probably what would happen. Grady Dick is another person that might get a few more minutes.
A lot of people were speculating that you were going to be on Dick tonight.
Grady Dick.
Grady Dick, yeah.
Yeah. That's what you said. But he hasn't. I watched him play the other night. Grady Dick, that is.
Not for you. Not for me.
I mean, look, small sample. I wasn't impressed, but he's still super young. Obviously, he'll figure it out. I think Barnes is really interesting, and he's a big spend that people aren't going to play because he's 9.2 for Scotty Barnes, but he's been good, and all his rates are basically up this year. 1.34 fantasy points per minute, 24% usage. Pascal has come around the last couple of games as well. I don't mind him, but he's now priced up to 8.7. But these are studs that are just not going to get played. Where do we have Barnes is not going to get played over Tatum, or all the guys are running down Luka. And imagine if Embiid gets ruled out, because that would really shuffle stuff up. That'll really make the slate stars and scrubs. And it's just do I take Maxey without Embiid? A lot of speculation.
It's crazy to even come to this show and have a game plan with something ready, what you're thinking about the slate, because it just everything changes every 5 minutes.
You got to be flexible. You got to have a game plan, but then what is it? The old Mike Tyson, everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. Well, Boston's punched us in the mouth, and then Toronto, they didn't really punch us in the mouth. We kind of knew that punch was coming. But Dallas, I thought, I wasn't sure about Kyrie, to be honest. All right. What else should we stress here as far as Milwaukee and Toronto? I think the Malachi Flynn thing could be really interesting. Boucher, I think it was Boucher who closed last game. How many minutes did he end up playing that game? He played 20. Okay. And he kind of sort of somewhat got there versus Washington. They were down 20 plus in that game, and they found a lineup that worked. And Washington was they turned into the Generals. They did their best to lose, and they did. All right. Let's move on. We have some time constraints also. Crunch time coming in about 15 minutes or so. 4 games left to knock out. Orlando, Chicago, 215.5 is the total. Not very high. Chicago is a 1.5 point favorite. No DeRozan. We have Caruso has got a toe, so he might not play. We'll see. There's rumors already of them finally leading into blowing this thing up, which they should have blew up 3 years ago. They've been stuck in the middle forever. Apparently, Levine is on the block. We'll see. I don't think he's going to get traded tonight, just sort of throwing it out there. Orlando is good to go with the absence of Fultz. We have not seen WCJ Wendell Carter Jr. in a while. But this game is I don't know. It's happening. There's stuff you can play here. But, I like Vuk. I think he's got a pretty good price, pretty good player. Makes stuff work. He's going to be heavily owned. Patrick Williams was one of the cheapie du jours earlier in the day, and he still might be at 3.9, getting 23% ownership. But again, this is going to change. I should not quote that. And Kobe White's another one of those guys that can, he's going to get some additional run in the absence of DeRozan. We did see him not close last game. I think they closed with Ayo DeSumo over him. Just kind of a bummer. Yeah. But, he's still probably going to get a fair bit of minutes, closing or not. Orlando, Chicago, go.
Well, let's ask this question: What does Vooch have left in the tank?
He's got revenge against Orlando. They traded him like 7 years ago.
He's coming off like three decent games. He's got revenge. He's got DeRozan out. He's got a matchup that's been much better with Wendell Carter Jr. gone, and and having to face like Goga, should be right up his alley, and Wagner, Mo Wagner. So I and 7,800 Vooch, I love tonight.
I like it too. I like it as well. I'm in on it. The update for Embiid, by the way, no update. He's a game time decision. Like ESPN is like, get in that locker room. Like, look, we already lost Jaylen Brown. We already lost Porzingis. You better be playing Embiid tonight. Like, they're making some calls. They
really? Does that really happen? Is that how it works?
Adam Silver or somebody on his behalf is like absolutely like these teams definitely get notified that like the league, the teams are well aware that the league wants you to be playing on prime time.
So they allow. So they wait till like how many other stars have already gone out ahead of time, and then they come in and make the call.
Well, they have these rules where the stars are not allowed to rest on prime time. And there's like what they designate as a star is like you've been an all-star in the last 2 or 3 seasons, something like that. There's like 40 actual stars according to the list. But of course the teams just counter and say, well, Embiid's got a hip. Sure. I mean, yeah, he's got 2 of them. And like, I guess, he's probably a little beat up, whatever, wear and tear of the season, but he could play, right? I'm not the doctor, but I think he's fine basically. But if it was a playoff game, he's playing. But I think he's playing, the long and short of it. And maybe they're just having some fun with the injury stuff. But Tim's saying I'm starting conspiracies. It's not look, it's not a conspiracy that the league wants the players to play on prime time. Like that's absolutely a thing they try to address in the offseason. With what kind of success so far, I'm not sure. But and like teams will get fined. And maybe some teams are like, screw it, we'll just pay the fine. We don't care. Covington starting again, according to Derek in chat. Okay.
Fool me once.
Not gonna fool me again.
Shout out to my man Butthole. Butthole in the house. Butthole Jenkins, legend.
Do you have a feeling the Plums play tonight?
I was hoping he didn't ask me that, but I think we just nailed it with Vooch. I just feel like he's gonna go off tonight.
Shout out to my boy Ducky Sean in chat. He's randomly mentioning Jaime Jaquez, who's on my Miami Heat. He's a UCLA fan, and that's where he went to college. So Jaime not available on the slate tonight, but yeah, he does fit right in as far as the old Heat culture. Chicago, Orlando. Did you touch on Orlando? Do you like Orlando? I don't really like Orlando at all. Like if I landed on Banchero, so be it, but I don't need it.
Yeah,
I have no priorities.
He'd be the one, Banchero. I think that would you could do a nice, it's a nice run back with like Levine, Banchero, Vooch, Banchero. I mean,
Minnesota.
One of, if not both of Vooch and Levine have to go off, no, or else they're just gonna completely get blown out.
Well, they all just can kind of, I wouldn't say get off, go off. They just kind of get theirs and just hit their quota, and that's it. Like we're not looking at a high total in this game. I think it's possible that everybody just sort of does okay, and like I don't think anybody has to just smash. I don't know. You're saying you're talking about one of Levine and Vooch, correct?
Yeah.
Is Levine going to be motivated as far as the trade stuff out there? Is he going to play extra hard? Is he going to take some extra shots, or are they going to not play him as many minutes because they don't want? He's had that knee every once in a while that kind of flares up, but maybe they don't push him too hard. Just throwing out some questions.
They're going to push him tonight. This is the night to push him. This is the night to step up.
Yeah, I don't mind Tim. It's just again, how do you prioritize? He's fine, but I guess he's sort of in the middle as far as price. He's not the same price as some of the other guys that are going to be in better spots they typically would find themselves. So, yeah, if you don't happen to have the salary, I'm okay with either one. Yeah, and Williams.
They're cheap. They're you can't deny that they're not cheap at this point with no DeRozan.
They've been this price all season, basically. But yeah,
yes,
Chicago's one of the underpriced teams. Yes. I don't hate the idea of one of Vooch or Levine should get there. And there's like
maybe
not
I
much
just
else
maybe I
left.
just smacked this game and win all the money tonight.
You said smack or stack?
Well, both.
Well, I don't think Orlando. What's a stack? One guy, like a 2-1. Is that a stack?
Yeah, little 2-1.
Okay,
That counts.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, people someday they're very strict to what they call a stack and what's not a stack. Minnesota and Phoenix. I don't think I have a lot of interest in this game, right? 224 is the total. Phoenix is a 5-point favorite at home versus Minnesota. Minnesota on the road, traveling back to back. This is the first time this year that we're going to get all three, Booker and Beal, as well as Durant. Even Eric Gordon is healthy. They're all healthy for Phoenix, which to me cuts down on the ceiling for Phoenix. And then add in the fact that Minnesota has been the best defensive team in all of basketball this year. And I'm not playing anybody in Phoenix. I don't make enough lineups to justify it. Do you have anybody in the Suns?
I do not. I
Okay.
think this game is a just stay away from game. If you had to play someone, it would be on the other side. But this is more of just a fun game to watch, potentially. You could play Anthony Edwards. I don't mind. He'd be like the one guy to absolutely go off, I think. But I'm kind of interested to see how Gobert comes back after last night. Oh, that's Cat's B-Day. I didn't know it was Cat's birthday.
How old is Cat?
That's good.
I'm gonna say he's 29 or 28. 28 or 29. Which one is he? He's one of those two, right? I think.
I'll take under 29.
Oh, well,
he's 28. Yeah. He's 28 years old.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, you beat me to it. You mentioned Gobert. You see the way he closed last night? I don't know if you watched the end of that game, but he had a game-winning block. It was pretty awesome. Chase down block in the corner where he was.
But now
all
the videos of the choke, you know what I mean? Let's see what he's got. If he comes
I
out.
think he's getting a bad rap by this. Like now he's a part of this meme or this GIF going forward, and he was kind of just trying to be peacemaker type, and then Draymond came in. And I know he's not, for whatever reason, he's not well liked, it seems, around the league amongst the players. But all right, let's move on. Minnesota, nothing. Is that it?
Anthony Edwards, like he absolutely could go off. He's going to get no ownership tonight.
Nope. Yeah,
and
nobody's
when a guy who can completely take over a game for his team, priced at 8,900, that's fine, and he's going to be under 5% owned probably. Like you should have interest.
And that's not like being hyperbolic. I don't think he's going to be 5% owned. You're probably rounding up. Yeah, he's probably going to be like 2 or 3%, maybe. And certainly like in single entry stuff, like nobody's going to play him. And all right. Oh, here's a good question from Butho in the chat. Well, this is not just Butho. This is Flying Armbar talking about Luka. Luka in Dallas, the only game tonight at 7:00. Dallas and Washington. And yeah, maybe we don't get the Embiid news till like 7:02 or 7:01. Who knows, right? And it's important, and it's it's going to affect reflect on our lineups. But can we skip the first game? Is what Flying Armbar is asking us. But the thing is Luka is just this incredible play. You could play some Washington guys too, sure. But you could just lock in Luka and move on and figure it out from there if you want to do that. But yeah, you're making one lineup tonight. I assume just one lineup, Kirkwood? You put it everywhere?
Yeah, probably just one.
I mean, it's hard to say what you're going to do. Obviously more information coming on during the show, but do you think you're going to have Luka in your one lineup? I probably am going to have him in my main lineup.
I think he's a lock. He has the best role in the NBA anyway. I say this every time. This is like the nut matchup for him. He should be able to pick up a bunch of steals in this game and be off on his way. Anything can happen, but like the next guy I like for studs would be Tatum. And then
RJ Barrett out.
And then I kind of like the mid-range stuff, like high mid-range. Like I said, I like Vooch. I think there's guys like De'Aaron Fox that could have a lot of meat on the bone. So Donovan Mitchell could smash against Portland if Portland hangs around in this game. I think there's a lot to like tonight. And then Lillard is still there. People like Lillard went from like must play to like everyone's gonna. What's that gif where the guy's like walking around, like in the street? You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the chat. The grammar police are coming at me, but I'm sorry, but hyperbolic and hyperbole are there. It's the same origins. It's the same. Yeah, John's trying to correct me, but yeah, it's the same thing. It's just different ways to say it. But okay, look, I'm wrong sometimes, but I actually was correct there.
I'm not a grammar guy. I'm a math guy, not a grammar guy.
Wait, 20 minutes ago you said you didn't know there would be math at all.
Yeah, it was a joke.
Oh, Barrett is out. Hart quickly gets a higher ceiling at least. But we're not thrilled about it. Maybe Hart could be a useful piece. He could be useful, I think, in that mid range if you're dying for mid range stuff. Otherwise, let's see what the projections switch to. That'll get updated soon. Couple more games. We have what? 2 more. Yeah. All right. We got Sacramento and the Lakers. The second half of the ESPN doubleheader. 235.5 is the total. It's high and it's tight. Lakers are 1.5 point favorites. So LeBron, questionable tag today on ESPN. Come on. It's a back-to-back. There's no travel. He put like 22 minutes last night. Davis officially in, or officially probable. As far as Sacramento, they're good to go. Nothing new. Well, Alex Len is hurt. I don't think that matters. Not really. Trey Lyles as well. Gabe Vincent is still out too, but again, doesn't really matter there. Yeah, if LeBron happens to sit, of course, Davis becomes incredible. When will we know that? I have no idea. Probably not well into the slate. Probably not until after the 9:00 Minnesota-Phoenix game, knowing how this stuff comes out sometimes. Now Fox is back for Sacramento, so certain guys take a hit. Monk, we saw, was on a roll for a bit. Nice to see, Red Velvet, Kevin Huerter getting back as far as his shooting stroke, but a few less shots these days with Fox back as well. Sabonis
Fox is so good. Like, this is Fox's year. Get in now.
Is it though?
It is.
What do you mean? Like,
really good.
What does that mean? It says year.
He's going to be like a top 5 NBA player this year. When all
no, he's not.
No, I say he will be.
Okay, Joker, Anthony Davis, Luka, Giannis.
All right, we don't have time to break down the list. Okay, we don't have time.
You can't say that unless you tell me the 5 guys that are getting kicked out. He's not a top 5 player.
He'll be this season. Yes, he is. He's going to be watched.
Okay.
He's gonna get MVP votes.
Like, even if he does, like, okay. I mean, the chat boy is giving the business. Yeah, they don't seem to agree with you as far as I can tell. But I see it.
Where are these? Yeah, they're laughing at you, Dean. They're not laughing with you. They're laughing at you.
They're all gonna laugh at you. All right. So does that mean you like Fox tonight? What about Sacramento?
I love Fox tonight. He looked really. He came right back from his ankle injury. Looked absolutely great. He wasn't even needed much down the stretch in this one. I think this game is a good spot for him against the Lakers. He always likes playing against the Lakers. This is definitely a great spot for him. The minutes should be up because his ankle's fine. I think he's electric. I think he's going to be he won't win most improved because he's a star already, but this is going to be like the most improved star in my opinion this season.
It's the dumbest award. I don't know how they quantify it. I think Halliburton might win it, right? Even though he was a star last year. But he's better than Fox. I don't know if he said that or not. Yeah, but all right. How about the Lakers? It's just like you could play Davis, you could play LeBron, but neither are a priority because, like, if assuming LeBron's playing, we're just gonna gravitate to.
They were laughing. They were laughing with me. They're not. They
don't believe De'Aaron Fox is a top 5 player.
Looks like one person bold call. Butthole. That's all I need to see. My boy Butthole agrees with me.
Yeah. If
Butthole this is a good.
Do you feel in your plums that De'Aaron Fox is a top 5 NBA player?
Yeah, you know what this is going to do? I'm going to play De'Aaron Fox everywhere tonight now because
you could do that. That's a different conversation. These players have salaries and accumulating fantasy points. It turns out doesn't mean you're a great fantasy player. Kyle Kuzma gets a bunch of fantasy points. Like, he's not.
Yeah, but
a great
Steve made a good
NBA
point
player.
with Maxey, but it's like a different situation. But Maxey is obviously great play. Great.
All right. What else is to be said here as far as Lakers and Sacramento?
Nothing. It looks like Butthole and Bootleg Head Chopper agree with me. So
Oh boy,
it's a mic
the
drop
deck
right
is
there.
stacked.
It's a mic drop.
What does the real Head Chopper think, though? All right, we got to get Chop on one of these NBA shows. I feel like I've not done with them all season.
Yeah, Devo, if you're listening, schedule Chop on some more shows with a little
Let's
3
get Chop in
man.
here.
Kirk,
Yeah.
Chop, Dean, for the boys.
Cleveland is in Portland. 218.5 is the total. Not a very high total. Cleveland is a 10-point favorite here, 11-point favorite here. But another, I don't want to say star, but like meaningful player, Darius Garland is out, meaning another star. Donovan Mitchell is going to be elevated. Looks like an awesome play here against Portland. No Isaac Okoro as far as Portland. No Brogdon, no Simons, no Henderson, no Williams. Sharp did get a probable tag. They're on the back half of a back-to-back. He's got a knee. He plays so many minutes. I wouldn't be surprised that they rest him at some point. But, yeah, they just run that dude into the ground. What is he? 39 minutes is his projected minutes tonight, which is kind of outrageous, but also accurate. Cleveland and Portland coming into this slate, I thought Mitchell was going to be the star we're all going to be spending on. And maybe we still are. Where do you have Mitchell compared to Lillard now? Who do you prefer amongst those two?
I have him ahead.
I think so too.
But like the common sense in me says like I should be playing Dame. Like this is like Dame's first like real opportunity to just take over a game. And but like I said, that calf injury, that nagging calf injury kind of gives him an excuse or whatever. But Mitchell should smash. The only problem is it's a 10.5 point spread. And with Portland on a back-to-back here, this could, I think they could hang in it, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it's a blowout, but Donovan Mitchell should absolutely smash. He's going to have elite usage in this game too. I think Levert is sneaky.
He's not sneaky. He's going to be owned.
Then I'm looking at something wrong because I have him as low owned.
So the ownership has not been updated. It will be shortly, but earlier it was at 26%.
Yeah, 26, not very sneaky. But he's definitely gonna come down now with all this other. But he's 6,400. That's fine.
I think he might come down a little bit. We'll see.
What about Mad Max for minutes?
Struce. I mean, he was fun when like everybody was out and he was playing 40 minutes, but like his minutes of like they're still pretty high. He's super reliant on this 3-pointer. But I think he's just sort of priced where he should be. He's just sort of fine. If you land on it, whatever. Do you prefer Max or like Josh Hart?
See, I think most people will go to like Josh Hart, but I kind of prefer Max. And if this game stays close, Portland is horrendous.
Well, if this game stays close, and assuming it's like points are actually getting scored, shouldn't we like some Blazers theoretically? They play their guys a ton of minutes. Grant 38 minutes, 8 into 35 minutes. Beyond that, there's not a lot of lots. This Skylar Mays has been playing a bunch, and he's been all right. A fantasy point minute guy, not a terrible usage, about 20% or so. Your favorite Blazer to run it back versus Cleveland is who?
All right. So Jeremy Grant played low minutes last night because of foul trouble, and then the game was out of hand. So I think this is a fine spot for him to come back here tonight. So he's the guy I like on Portland the most. Looks like Tamani is going to get Kamara. Never mind. Don't really like him too much, but he's 3,800. I can see it. He'll get more minutes too, and he'll be fine. He'll be blowout proof.
Yeah, we spent some fab on him and Kamara for the old season long team. I know people want to know about my season long team. This is a couple weeks ago where I got excited about it, but a little bit of regrets, probably overspending on Kamara. Let's go back where we have Boston. Did we get a new projection on Boston? I bet we did. We have Crunch Time Crew coming in a few minutes. You got Andy Means, you got Taylor Smith, you got Kevin Roth. Tatum's projection now is almost 55 fantasy points on DK at 10-1, 37 minutes. White got bumped up to 33, 34. So he looks pretty good. Holiday, almost a 40-point median projection. Horford, 29 fantasy points at 5-5. Oh, man, that's going to hit some optimal stuff. I do not want to play Al Horford. If I was Bart Simpson, I'd be writing that on the chalkboard. Hauser getting a 21-point projection and Pritchard getting a 19-point projection. So that's basically their rotation. 7 guys, right? Tatum, White, Holiday, Horford, Hauser, Pritchard. You're going to see some Brissett. You're going to see some Cornette. But, we gave Svi Mikhailiuk a few minutes and Lamar Stevens and Banton, but those just a few here and there. And maybe that's kind of head stuff. But, yeah, it should be a tight rotation for Boston. Your thoughts? You were talking about Hauser before. Hauser versus Pritchard. Pritchard just saves you more money. I think Hauser feels a little bit safer, assuming he draws the starts. What's your lead?
PP, playoff Paul, PP is kind of interesting. 3,600, just because he can get there in a bunch of different ways. He'll be in that second unit. He can close if the game gets out of hand. I don't think it will. I think the Celtics are going to win this game regardless. But I mean, you have to love Tatum and Holiday. Like I said, I mean, the ranking is Tatum, Holiday, White, Hauser, then Pritchard. I'm Al. I just don't see Al doing enough.
I don't either. He can be bad chalk if he ends up being chalk.
Yeah. I don't think he will be, will he?
I'm running some stuff now, and I want to see if he's hitting optimals. Like if he's got a 30-point projection at 5.5K, he's going to land in some lineups, I think. And I don't think I like it. I don't think I want that. Like, what is his possible ceiling? Like, what's the chances of Horford like ruining your night as far as like scoring too many points and you don't have him? Doesn't feel very good, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Al Horford, future top 5 All-NBA player. I'm going to call that too. I'll see your De'Aaron Fox and raise you. How about that? He's a late bloomer.
All right. You think it's funny? You think that De'Aaron Fox is nasty?
He's good. He's just a lot of good players in the league.
He's much better now.
Okay. Yeah. You think he's still getting better?
Yes.
He hasn't officially peaked.
I think he's so. I read a whole thing on him about with like a mental therapist and all of this. Oh, can you hear me?
Are you on mute? Did I lose you?
I'm not on mute.
Boy. I think you're still on mute. Hello? Bueller?
He's not on mute. I can hear both of you.
I'm just talking to myself. Did Kirkwood get frozen? Is producer Steve with me? Is Crunch Time coming in? What's going on?
Hello, Dean.
I think Kirkwood is frozen. Oh, no, I see he's moving. All right. Well, here comes Andy.
Yeah,
too soon.
We heard you both the whole time. I have no idea what's going on.
I can't hear anybody talking.
I think it's Dean. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Did I hit a button?
Kirkwood, can you hear us?
Yeah,
oh
I knew it was Dean.
Dean.
Like,
Dean.
Dean's throwing it on me. Classic Dean behavior.
I somehow muted like the entire
after
show.
this show, restart your computer again, Dean. Okay. After this
restarted it today. Like I remember we had that whole conversation with Roth, who says he never once restarted his computer since like 1972, I think. And so I've learned that like once a week at worst. Have you learned your lesson, Roth? Are you restarting your computer now on the reg?
No, I've yet to restart this computer. Yeah, no. I'm 4 years from now, I'll buy a new computer, and that will have one restart, and then I'll get a new one 4 years later.
I have a question. How many tabs do you keep open on your computer? Like how many?
4 or 5.
Oh, that's I have like 100.
Yeah, see,
I've got like every sport, each sport. I have all my go-tos, and I.
Rothus has like 7 different radar tabs.
Yeah, I don't have as much to look at, man.
I have like 15 or 20, I think. I think that's a little more standard. Are you rounding up there, Kirkwood, or you have like 100 tabs? How do you even see them?
I mean, I would screenshot it here, but then I would. So I have a site on there that when I screenshotted it for Steve, he was like, "Oh, you got to remove that site because it looked like the Pornhub logo, but it's Prop Hub, It's literally a props. It's Prop Hub. It's I know somebody who made the site, and it just takes like the bad information and like other things information, and it like the same
What's
thing.
the other site you
stuff.
said? I'm not
Yeah, what's
familiar with
that?
that. Yeah.
Taking notes.
I've heard about it. I don't
Yeah.
partake in that kind of
Prop
filth, but
all right. Dynamite transition today. Myself and Kirkwood, we do appreciate y'all joining us for the first portion of the show. Do hit that like button. Never ask, never grovel, never beg. They're probably down today. Please do not make us look terrible. Hit that like button. Also, stay tuned. It's crunch time. You got Andy Means, you have Kevin Roth, and you got Taylor Smith. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. As always, welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Crunch Time. This show is sponsored by Fanduel, as you are likely well aware at this point in the season. And as you are also well aware, it is the show where we bring on two of the sharpest minds in the biz. My guy, Andy Means, in the house. Means I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute. I feel like you're ducking me. I don't know, but good to have you on the show, man.
Maybe I'm, better received when you see me less. Maybe you miss me a little bit.
There's something to that. By the way, I think we have matching shirts on. I've got this on, but I'm pretty sure. Are we matching with the blue heather? Yeah. Nice, very nice. I like
Thanks for the memo, guys.
Yeah, you're missing out, man. We got Taylor as well. Taylor, what's up, man? How are you?
Good to be here with the OGs again, as always.
Yes. Well, we are thrilled to have you and to walk through this slate. I think it's a fun one. I think I've been enjoying my builds thus far. You want to give me a little rundown, Means, about what you're thinking and what we're waiting on?
Caruso's in, just got that news. Yeah, I like this slate, and I'll tell you why. Because a bunch of big names who are Q, some stuff that some guys just got ruled out. And what's probably the best about it is there's only one game starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's the highest total on the slate by far. I think those two teams actually have the two highest implied team totals as well. But there's some fringy stuff in that game. No one's really popping in that game except for Luka, just because it's the best matchup and he's Luka and Kyrie's out. Mm-hmm. So there's decisions to be made, what you do with that game. Then you have Embiid, who's questionable still, and that game started at 7:30. You have Dennis Schroeder, who's questionable. That game also starts at 7:30, and then I think LeBron's Q for the late game. So I'm kind of in this spot where I want to probably not play anyone from the first game. It feels really weird because at least right now, we have 40 minutes before the slate locks, but I wouldn't surprise me if we get a Schroeder or a Embiid ping here in a little bit. Because some cheap stuff will open up that I really want if those guys are out. So yeah, it's I like this slate. It's a good slate.
But does anybody have the seat Luka with no Kyrie in a pace-up game? That is their team total 125, or did I make that up? That seems too high. But
don't make that up.
I think it's just insane. Are you worried that he's going to go for 90 and you just kind of yeah. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. All right. Hey, let's dive into it. Means we like to start with a FanDuel cash build. Do you want to lead us off in that department?
Yeah, I can do that. Point guard. Hold on one second.
And by the way, Jackson in the chat bringing up, what about Hardy? I suppose I didn't think about, the cheaper Mavs options, just not quite getting there for you.
Yeah, not quite getting there. With Luka, he was obviously a baller when, especially last year when both of those guys were out, but not gonna be there for me on this one. But and a lot of that has to do with just the better options we have. So Giannis is out tonight, and Dame's only 8-1 on FanDuel. So I think he's one of your first guys in over there. I'm slightly worried about his calf and if they're going to push him. But I also think it's one of those things where it's a rest night for Giannis. I don't think anything's really bothering him. So, I don't think they would rest Giannis if they weren't confident in how Dame's feeling. So, yeah. So, yeah, I'd go there. Let's see. Drew is probably the next one if you're going cheaper, and Donovan Mitchell, obviously, who I'm sure everyone's heard about. If you're gonna spin, so that's what I would be looking at from there. Let's see. I mean, obviously, Luka. I didn't mean to not talk about him, but it's just a question of can you afford him or not? So I've loved my builds without him on DraftKings. He's a little easier for me to get on FanDuel, so don't have a strong lean either way, though. Let's see. The cheap stuff, I would be looking at Derek White and Kobe White. Melton will look a little better if Embiid's out. So, and then we'll have to see with Schroeder because I want to see. Let's see. I want to double check Flynn's price tag. If Flynn hops in the starting lineup, I know he's really cheap on DK. 3.6 on DK. Trying to load his player page. Let me see. 1 second. Sorry.
You're right.
He is 4-1. Not as attractive over on FanDuel, so I don't think he'll be a primary play unless we get the announcement he's starting. So let's move on. Shooting guard. Let's see. Trying to look at guys who are not point guard eligible. So yeah, we have Mitchell. LeVert, shooting guard, small forward. He's going to be a decent player regardless. We got news that RJ Barrett's out, so I really like Josh Hart at 5'3". He's a good cheap play. Probably like him more than LeVert. Josh Green at 4'3". Mentioned Derek White. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably it for primary stuff. Let Taylor talk about some pivots off that, but it's definitely Mitchell here, and then probably Hart and LeVert. Small forward. LeVert's probably going to be a easier squeeze here. You also have Hart, same positional eligibility, so just kind of go with what you're working with at the other positions. Avdia is a cheap option at 5'7". Hauser at 4'2". If you have some funds, I would say Kuzma, but I mean, we know this is a Kuzma show, but I would prefer spending at other positions.
Butho Jenkins in the chat says Roth must be soiling his pantalones over Kuzma tonight, which I'm not, but I did get a kick out of that comment for what it's worth.
What was his name?
Butho, our guy Butho Jenkins.
Oh yeah, I thought you said Butho, so I was like,
I did.
You did? Oh, okay. I thought the first time I thought it was a T. The second time I thought it was a D. Both are great names. Who cares? Power forward, Portis. Feel like it's weird with Portis. Like he's always good per minute when he's out there. It's more of a minutes thing when Giannis is out, just because he's like Giannis light kind of when Giannis is out. He plays way more minutes. And it's obviously not last season because Dame's on the team and Drew's not. And Dame carries more usage than Drew. So you're like, oh, maybe it's not as good of a spot. But then you have Middleton who plays like 20 minutes now with no end in sight. So I think it's kind of a wash. Whenever Portis is sub 6K when Giannis is out, I just kind of blindly play him. I'm far higher on him than projections for what it's worth. He's like our 4, 5, 6, 7. Our 8th best RG value at power forward. I like him way more than that. So take that for what it's worth, I guess.
But he also has, as I look here, he's got like the rainbow tag of all the experts.
There you go. You like to see that.
So you're not alone in that feeling that maybe he's got a lot of upside on that projection.
Oh, there's his name. Hi, Butho Jenkins. Yeah, it's a little easier to see now that I see it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Just you deserve a trophy for that name. It's so good.
So good.
Mobley up top. I prefer Mobley slightly to Kuz if you're picking between those guys. And to answer Bo Jenkins' question, it was probably mine because I have my microphone right underneath my mouse right underneath my microphone. I'll try to make a swap when I pass it to Taylor and see if that helps anything. But also then I'll be standing up and look like a lunatic. So probably we can save that for the next show. Let's see. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, it's definitely Portis. Oh, I like Randall up top would prefer saving money to Mobley or Kuzma, I think. Like Siakam and Barnes are going to look better if Schroeder's out, so still waiting to see what happens there. Let's see. Center, love Vooch tonight. Just love Vooch tonight. And let's see what his ownership is at. It's only 15% on FanDuel, probably a little higher on DraftKings. Not saying you have to play him or anything, but I think forget what the stat was I wrote this morning, like 7 games without DeRozan and with Levine. I think he's averaging like 50 fantasy points per 36 minutes. So, yeah, love him as a spend up. I heard Dino talking about Horford right before his computer imploded. He's 4.8 on FanDuel. It's a really good price tag. I'd be much more inclined to take a risk on him on FanDuel. I would probably prefer him over Goga. And weirdly enough, I might prefer Horford if Embiid plays. I don't know if that sounds kind of weird to say, but I think they try to match Horford's minutes with Embiid as much as possible, which we have him at 31. So you could see it like a 34, 35 and let him sit out for the next week after being around by Embiid. So obviously foul trouble risk, but he's baked in a little bit. So yeah, cheap Horford, Vooch, Portis is there, Goga's there. Yeah, that's about it for me. Pass it to you guys.
We had a couple people mention a couple names here, Levine and Siakam, 2 names that I don't think you mentioned either of them. Where's your interest level on those guys?
It's there. I mean, they're both. I would prefer Levine of the 2. Not that they're at like similar positions or anything, but like Levine's in the backcourt, and I like guys just not that much harder to get. Like like Dame, or I think Levine might be shooting guard, small forward on FanDuel, but still. Just he's playing really inconsistently too, which is part of the problem. So obviously the volume's going to be there with no DeRozan, but just like long story short, I guess I like other guards better. And like if you're in the small forward range, you have Kuzma there. So yeah, not my favorite on this slate, but if ownership is saying that's how most people are treating him, which let's see, he is. Oh, there he is. He's 14%. Yeah, I mean, so that's a little more appealing. And Siakam, I like him more if Schroeder's out.
Okay, very good. Taylor, let's kick this over to you. Talk some tournaments here. I'm trying to take one down tonight. Do I need to wait for news? Essentially, I'm trying to take down a tournament and go out to dinner with my family, and I'm thinking maybe I can't. Maybe those 2 things won't work.
Yeah, that's like the NBA DFS thing. Like you kind of just have to babysit all night, but yeah. Maybe we'll get lucky. We just got Patrick Williams in, which we expected. He was probable, I believe, anyway. Yeah, so Luka on FanDuel, he's, like Meansy said, more appealing on FanDuel than he is on DK. But I don't think he's a must just because the guards are really loaded. Lillard 8,100 on FanDuel, even at what should be pretty huge ownership. I think that's good chalk. With no Giannis, he should smash, honestly. Drew Holiday, no Porzingis, no Jaylen Brown. Looks great on FanDuel as well. I love Brunson now. He should go fairly overlooked, even with no Barrett. The Hawks are a good matchup, pace up spot. So I think Brunson at what should be low ownership looks pretty good. Schroeder, if he plays, is fine. The Bucks defense has kind of fallen off this season. The Q tag should lower the ownership there, so I don't mind that. And Derek White is fine. I think he's more of a shooting guard. On FanDuel, I'll transition that way. He will be my highest owned shooting guard on FanDuel. Good salary, should see tons of minutes, assuming the game stays close, which it should, especially if Embiid plays. So I like that. Tim Hardaway Jr., no Kyrie. Wizards are maybe the best matchup in the league now, so he should see an uptick in usage that way, uptick in minutes as well. Pretty reasonable salary. Donovan Mitchell, obviously, we've been on him all day. Melton looks pretty good. No Batum, no Oubre. Minutes should be more solidified, so I like that as well at shooting guard. Levert also makes sense more at small forward. I like Denny Avdia. If you want to get a piece of that first game, I don't hate the idea of waiting just because there is a lot of news we're still waiting on, but if you're looking for something decent in the mid-range, I think Avdia is totally fine at small forward. Same with Kuz. Not sure his ownership will be as high as it's projected, just because there's a lot to consider. But the forward positions are kind of barren in general. Derek Jones maybe is a value you can consider. Tim Hardaway at this position again. Sam Hauser, don't love it. Tagged Patrick Williams early in the day as a value in lineup HQ just because it was kind of thin, and it still is kind of thin. So no DeRozan for the Bulls. I think you can do that. Levine is a guy that should go overlooked relatively, just because we've had a ton of news throughout the day, and he was kind of an early guy that was popping in projections. So if you think he's lower owned than Vucevic, which he should be, I don't mind that in tournaments at all. Evan Mobley is another chalky play that I think I'll eat on FanDuel along with Portis. An alternative is Jared Allen. Same team as Mobley. Cheaper, kind of on a minutes limit, but Portland should be bad defensively. And I think he's a decent way to get leverage off of Mobley, who still has Mobley's ceiling's kind of questionable to begin with. And at center, I think Brook Lopez, sadly, is a guy I'll be on just because he's cheap. Should see more usage without Giannis. The alternative is Al Horford. I think I would just side with Brook in that scenario.
Okay. Any other names you want to throw in at center? Did I jump the gun?
Goga's fine, although now he's kind of behind Lopez and Horford for me. DeAndre Ayton plays plenty of minutes. That game has a wide spread, but the Blazers are pretty thin. And I think we've touched on everyone else. Vucevic, the other one.
Okay, I've had a few people bring up Sam Hauser. Also got a couple amazing Total Recall references. Shout out to Kirkwood. Where do we stand here with Hauser? Is this a viable value, Taylor?
He's fine. Not sure we've gotten a lineup there yet, but if he starts, I would be okay with it. But I don't even think he's as cheap as he should be. So
I think he's 4-2 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I don't love it. I'd rather go Patrick Williams. Not that either's.
I was looking at something on Hauser, like let's call it like end of last week. I was looking at people's 3-point rates, which is basically like how often the shots you shoot are 3-pointers. It was like 91%. So like,
yeah, so he's all or nothing.
If he's not making shots, you're going to have 4 fantasy points. So
Yeah.
like not even joking. Like it's just like, I mean, he could run into other stuff obviously, but I would personally prefer to find something else, especially on FanDuel where it's a little looser. But yeah, just that popped in my head when I was like, wow, you literally don't shoot anywhere else but behind that line out there. It's impressive.
Those kind of players are terrifying.
Heroic.
Yeah.
That's basically who I would be in life if I was an NBA player.
Yeah.
Okay, let's we do of course want to kick it to DK, but first we should know the show is sponsored by FanDuel. If you bet $5 on any money line, you get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. And for new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions do apply. Must be 21 and up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Shout out to our sponsor, FanDuel. Hit us with a little thumbs up. We're trying to keep this show free for you. So all we ask is eyeballs, thumbs up, subs, that kind of thing. You don't have to pay any money. Just trying to help. All right, let's kick it to DK. Means walk us through a cash build. I'm trying to find some I'm trying to do this this Kuz Luka build, but I need the value means, and I don't know if we've got it. I'm like, I kind of hate my build now.
Yeah, we don't have. Well, you kind of have it. Like, do you want to play Sam Hauser?
Right. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, this is what I'm hopeful for is that Embiid is out so I can play Paul Reed, and that Schroeder is out so I can play Malachi Flynn. That's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. And since those games start post 7:00, I can just deal with everything, when we wrap this up. So that means I'm not playing Luka. That means I'm not playing Josh Green, which I'm fine with. Luka's awesome, and he's probably going to score like 65 fantasy points tonight. I just don't want him to score 75. Yeah. That's really what it's going to come down to. Last time I was on the show, I think talking about Luka, he had like his worst game of the year, so he's probably just going to. He's obviously watching because they just went back in, or they're about to go out for warm up, so he's watching just get pumped up for the game.
He's taking notes right now. He's like, "Oh,
so
okay,
you don't want to play me now? Okay,
yeah.
But I'm just not gonna. It's a hefty price tag, and if I get buried, I get buried. Even if he has 75, like, you're not dead,
Sure.
Because especially if like the guys you play with him especially if you play Josh Green, he has 18 points, whereas and maybe you wait for Malachi Flynn or something, he has like 30. So like, I'm just gonna probably not play him. I'm not saying I would recommend doing that. That's just what I'm doing.
Yeah. So Hammer starts off. Would it be smart to fade the first game and wait for 6:30 news? And that's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean that. Let me answer by answering that. I want to answer in like more of a tournament mindset, just by looking at ownership on this game. So it looks like on DK that's a hefty ownership number on like Corey Kispert. Luka's only 14%, so that's really low for Luka. Basically everyone's 16% or below except for Corey Kispert. I would not play Corey Kispert at 20%. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if you're playing one lineup and you're playing all tournaments, I would be going over those numbers. Like it's the 200 and whatever point total and like figure it out. I think I can get a better lineup though. Like I think if the news breaks the way I want it to, I think I can get a better lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to answer just because it depends on how many lineups people are playing and whatnot.
Sure.
If you're playing like cash games, I would for sure avoid the cheap stuff. That is like I would definitely avoid Josh Green and hope something better pops up. Like I would avoid Corey Kispert and hope for something better to pop up because those are not like awesome plays, awesome values. So you got to make a decision on Luka, and that's just kind of how you like the rest of your build. So if you're playing cash games, I would be a Luka only and then fade all the other stuff.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go through just a total build here on DK.
You got it. Yeah. So again, part of the reason why I am not playing Luka is because I like guards tonight. I like Mitchell. I like Lillard. I like Malachi Flynn if Schroeder's out and he starts. Like those three right there. I think Flynn is only point guard. Those three guys I just mentioned. I'm sorry, Mitchell has shooting guard eligibility, but those three guys are like I'm trying to get them. I knew there's one other Maxey if Embiid's out. That was the other one I was messing around with in my builds. So like those are four really good plays. My preference, I think, if like let's say Embiid's out, I won't even worry about the Flynn part because he's cheap. Like if Embiid's out, my preference would be Mitchell. I think I would go Mitchell, Maxey, Dame, but definitely Mitchell first. Got Mavs lineup.
No THJ starting.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how much that moves the needle on the projections or anything. Let's see. I don't even know if we were projecting him to start, honestly. Yeah. All right. So those are the point guards I like for sure. Let's see. Let's just talk shooting guard real quick. Then you have I definitely like the 6-7K range at shooting guard. Drew, LeVert, White, Levine, just a really good range of players right there. They're not too expensive either. Oh, I'm sorry. At point guard, I didn't mention Kobe White. He was one guy. I'm hoping not to play him. I hope I get something better, but if this news doesn't break the way it is, I might have to play him because then I can't get Reed. I can't get Flynn. That means I probably can't spend up for two guards like I want to. So I probably have to play a cheap one. So I wanted to mention his name. And then the cheaper stuff shooting guard besides the guys I just mentioned would be like Pritchard. He's fine. There's one other guy. Strus. I think he's in the 5s. Let's go to small forward. All right. Yeah, so this is I really want this other news to break so I don't have to play Josh Green or Sam Hauser. I mean, like I said, I'm probably not going to play Josh Green just because of the timing of the game. I would prefer to like get cheap stuff other places, so I can play like a Levert at small forward, or a Strus, or maybe even a Levine or something like that, or a Josh Hart. I don't want to play one of those cheap dudes, but I might have to. So those are the names I just mentioned. That's basically who I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Barnes will look a little better, but I think if Schroeder's out, but I just don't think he's going to be a priority with me liking the guard so much. So, yeah, this is my least favorite position by far. Hopefully we get Tobias Harris. I would really like Harris if Embiid is out. I wanted to throw that name out there because I think he's like low sixes. So he's like in my shell build. The longer this goes that we don't have Embiid news, the more it makes me think he's playing. But we still got time to see how that plays out. Power forward, Portis, and that's a definite for me. And I'm glad we have him with power forward eligibility because I don't love everything else. Hart has power forward eligibility. Like I don't want to spend up here for I don't want to spend up for a Tatum, even though obviously he looks good with no Jalen or Zinger. Don't really want to pay up for Randall because I'm prioritizing spending up on those guards I really like. So not a lot to say here. Mobley would be okay. At least you save some money from those other two guys. But yeah, Portis and then go elsewhere. And maybe Ford is by far my least favorite and it's a pretty decent sized slate. But yeah, so let's look at center real quick, then I'll pass it back. Vooch, for sure. I would very much prefer to play Portis at power forward. Love Vooch if I can get to him. Paul Reed if Embiid's out and he starts. He's like not as cheap as I was hoping, but that is the main crew I'm looking at. Like I don't think I'm going to play anyone that's just center. That's not Vooch or Reed if the Embiid news breaks our way. So that's it.
Okay, so a couple things. First, Fittest Gamer says, can you go over the news that you're waiting for, which is first Embiid, first and foremost. Is Embiid in or out? If Embiid is out, we want Paul Reed. The other one was the Flynn news. Who was it that we were waiting for? Schroeder. Okay. Yeah. So if Schroeder's out, you want Flynn in.
And be mindful, too, we really want to look at starting lineups if that stuff breaks. So, let's go with the first one. If Embiid's out, I want to make sure Reed's starting. Then I will play him. Harris and Maxey are going to look really good as well. Melton will look a little better, I think, maybe on Fanduel too, if Embiid is out. So that's one. But yeah, again, we want to make sure Reed's starting. Then if Schroeder's out, I want to make sure Flynn is starting. I would really be surprised if he's not, just looking at their depth chart. I would think he has to play a lot because they're just really lacking ball handlers. Not saying he's going to be out there running the show and have the ball in his hands the whole time. Like they're obviously going to run a ton of stuff through Barnes and Siakam, but they need guards. So if Schroeder's out, I'll like Flynn a lot. And then Siakam and Barnes will look better too. Because remember, OG's out and Trent's out, so they're hurting for NBA caliber players. Yeah. So yep, those are the two spots.
Okay, great. Taylor, I'm going to kick it to you for GPPs. I am seeing some names that are just obviously GPP names, and I wanted to ask those first and then have you go through a build. I've had a few people ask about Seth Curry, and I will add my own name to that list of people asking about him because I'm interested. And then Beauchamp.
Yeah, Beauchamp, unfortunately, is currently one of my highest owned plays on DK. I think he's 3,500. He guard forward eligibility, no Giannis, no Jay Crowder, which is meaningful. He's already been playing around 20 minutes off the bench, could possibly see a little more tonight. So I do like that right now, although we are waiting on news. I would prefer not to have Beauchamp as my highest owned player on this slate. So hopefully we get something better. Seth Curry, I do not think you can play unless you're, maybe in like a 50,000 person type situation, but he's not really been in the rotation to begin with for the Mavs. They have Jaden Hardy. They have Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench. Luka does everything. I think Seth Curry's kind of thin.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Let's run through a build here on DK. Kind of just your tournament thoughts as we go position by position.
Yeah, so if you do have interest in that first game, like maybe people are waiting on news so they can swap on the better stuff. I don't mind Jordan Poole, 68 on DK. Should get tons of usage for the Wizards. He's been awful. They've been awful. He might be awful in general, but in a tournament, he should be 5% owned. Matchup's okay. They have a high total. I like Jordan Poole as a decent, a pivot away from Drew Holiday in the same range. So I still have Holiday, still have Derek White, still have Brunson at 8K. We don't have Lillard on DK at 8,100. He's 9K. So he's not going to be quite as popular, but still looks great. Should see tons of usage without Giannis, of course. Donovan Mitchell has been like the play of the day all day. I think he might be falling down a little bit just because of all the news we've gotten. So he's not going to be like 50% owned like he was this morning. Love that, of course. Portland is not good. He should see all the usage with Garland out. Shooting guard Beauchamp, sadly, I must bring up again. Peyton Pritchard is fine. Off the bench, I think we had him at 24 minutes. If we get the Malachi Flynn thing, I'd much rather play Malachi Flynn, assuming he starts. But again, if we don't get this news, you're going to have to kind of do some gross stuff. And Pritchard, I think, is okay just because Boston's depth is not a strength. And, they're down 2 starters. So I think you can get away with that. But again, assuming no Flynn in that scenario. Tim Hardaway, even off the bench, 5,900 is okay. Should see tons of usage as the leader of the second unit. Not a great salary on DK. I think I'd prefer Melton, especially if we have no Embiid for Philly. Melton's already been playing a decent role as a starter, and they're without Batum and Oubre tonight. So Tim Hardaway I think he looks better on FanDuel. Small forward Josh Green, okay. Don't love that either. Sam Hauser. The forward position is really weak with value on DK. That's why, again, I keep getting back to Beauchamp just because it's the last piece kind of thing. But
can I throw another value name at you at forward that I have because I'm doing this Dallas-Washington stack, hoping it goes, overtime or whatever. Can you play Koulibaly?
Yeah.
I'm looking at his last 2 games. He's played 34 and 33 minutes, put up 42 and 32 fantasy points. I know I'm not supposed to just look at the box score, but I'm a box score checker, and I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it does feel like kind of a chase just because he's a rookie and there's no telling. I wouldn't expect that again. But for all we know, he's a stud that does a little bit of everything. The minutes should be okay. It's worth noting Gallinari's back tonight. He missed the last game, so the minutes aren't like a sure thing with Koulibaly, but it's fine, especially on a slate with no value. He should be unowned, so I'm cool with that.
Okay. All right. Just checking. Thank you.
Yeah. Back to Avdia. Totally fine. Again, I prefer to wait, but if you're going out to dinner with your family, for example, I think you can play Avdia and be okay with that.
That's why you're stacking the game, Roth, right?
That's 100%.
Nothing to do
with
with
the time to
wait.
Yeah. Embiid, Schroeder. I'm not going to know. I'm going to be listening to toddlers. So yeah, we're stacking up the only game that I know what's happening on right now.
Well, it's the game with the highest total, and it has a close spread, and the Mavs probably got to DC at 3 a.m. last night, so I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Again, Patrick Williams, power forward only on DK, fine, should start without DeRozan. Randall I like quite a bit in tournaments. I like both him and Brunson, of course, with no Barrett. Al Horford, okay. There's a lot of gross stuff on this slate. Jason Tatum's 10-1. No Jaylen Brown, no Porzingis. We'll see about Embiid, but he should see a natural usage boost in this scenario, we think. Siakam, I think, is also better on FanDuel, but on DK he's fine, especially if we get no Schroeder for them. He and Scotty Barnes should kind of just handle the ball, I would think. So should also see pretty low ownership. I love the Tobias call if there's no Embiid. Maxi's fine if there's no Embiid, going back to point guard, but he's gotten quite expensive, and matchup against Boston is kind of scary, even a shorthanded Boston. Moving to center, I think, again, Brook Lopez, you can do it. He might be washed. We'll find out. But he should be a decent leverage play off of Portis in a similar price range. Vucevic, great. Julius Randle again. Evan Mobley. Embiid, he's been playing huge minutes. He's 11-6. No Porzingis for them, so don't mind that if he plays, just because he should be 5% owned.
Gotcha. Okay. I got this question from Casey Douglas. If Schroeder's out, your best two of these three, Flynn, Pritchard, Beauchamp. I think Pritchard's the odd man out in that.
Yeah, I agree.
Based on, yeah. Okay, great. Means we've got about 7 minutes until lock. Anything that you want to add?
Who has a better name, Cool Bali or Beauchamp?
I mean, they're both pretty damn good. Who's nobody beats Leaky Black though. That is by far.
George Duke last year.
Yeah, Leaky Black has jumped everyone else as far as fantastic names.
Sorry. One more thing to say,
Yeah,
just
please.
real quick. Braun's questionable, back to back. Like, he might not play. If you want to put AD in your lineup, like in the util spot, and maybe pivot down to LeBron if he plays, I think that's fine. I wrote LeBron up in the survey today. Matchup with the Kings looks really good, and also De'Aaron Fox 8,300 on the other side of that game. Too cheap on DK.
Very
no
nice.
one's playing that game.
What's that means?
No one's playing that game tonight, and it's like second highest total, tight spread. You get ownership discounts everywhere there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. We got a lightning round this because we've got about 6.5 minutes, and we got a bunch of questions. If you really feel you need to pontificate, feel free, but we'll try to get as many of these questions as we can. We will start here with Swaggin' with Chris. FanDuel Cash means Hart or THJ. They're the same price.
Hart.
Follow-up question, Mobley White or Randall Hardaway, also FanDuel Cash.
First one.
Okay, I mean, you don't need to be that. We're going to get exhausted at this pace. We're not going to make it. DK Cash means, is Beauchamp okay in cash?
Let me pontificate. He's okay if none of this other news breaks, and you'll know that when by the time that game starts, because it starts the other two are waiting on. So he's fine if he's definitely fine if neither of those break our way, and then probably if one breaks your way. Yeah.
Okay, that was well answered. All right. NBA DFS says FanDuel Cash, Horford or Reed if Embiid sits. It's Reed by a country mile, right?
Yeah, I'll play Reed if Embiid sits and Reed starts.
Yeah. Let's see. FanDuel GPP. Which Blazer are you fading? Taylor, Sharp, or Grant? Which Blazer are you fading?
I'd fade Grant just because Sharp, I think the minutes are a little more secure, but I really like both, honestly.
Okay. Sean says FanDuel GPP. Can I play Towns?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe not. I said yeah at first, but ignore that. I think I would not play Towns just because that game kind of sucks.
Okay. I did get a question in the YouTube that I just want to address. Someone said, DKGPP, do I have to play Luka? And the answer is like literally never do you have to play a 12K dude in a GPP, right? Never.
No, certainly not tonight with tons of awesome guard value.
Yeah.
At least like upper value.
Chinatown says, I like Taylor's vibe. Cardi would say, you're an idiot. And Taylor says, it's fine if you're playing 50,000 in a 50,000 person tournament. That's well
Cardi's
said.
from the Northeast. He's meaner than me.
He's more direct. It's not, he's just a little more forward. Let's see. DKGPP, Taylor, dumpster dive. Talk me off the Jonathan Isaac ledge versus the Bulls and or Jabari Walker off the bench for the Blazers in a blowout run.
I have not thought about Jonathan Isaac in probably 3 years, so I cannot advocate that.
Okay,
yeah, maybe Jabari Walker just because the Blazers have no one, but yeah, I think you got to do something else altogether.
Okay. FanDuel single entry means if Embiid is out, would you pivot off Horford to Reed?
Yeah.
Yep.
And at the rate this is going, like the Schroeder will play son of a.
Oh. Okay, so that means no Flynn, right? You can't play Flynn?
Damn, I thought he was not going to play because he was that midday downgrade.
Okay.
Just
want to make sure.
To answer the question, yeah, you can play Reed.
Okay. Well, Seth Curry it is. We're going from.
He's a math.
Oh boy. All right. That's not going to end well for me, guys. What else do we have here? FanDuel single entry. Is somebody like THJ bad chalk? And would a guy like Josh Hart be a good pivot? Is THJ chalk?
I don't think he'll be chalky,
FanDuel?
but I do think Hart is a good pivot.
Okay, great. Aside says, "Am I stupid?" means is Horford viable in FanDuel cash given the circumstances, or should I just walk away?
He's viable. Oh yeah, he's viable. He's sub 5K for sure. Viable.
Okay. We want Dean says, "Hey, I came super late. Please list all Wizards, Sharks. Oh, I'm sorry. Please list all Wizards that Sharks are considering for cash so I can adjust accordingly." Any Wizards you're considering for cash?
I mean, Kuzma maybe on FanDuel, I think, but he's 8-1 on DK, so I don't think anyone's in play except Kuzma on
Maybe
FanDuel.
Avdia?
Maybe Avdia on FanDuel too, yeah.
Okay. Rukin Verde says, "Thoughts on me playing Gafford and Lively in the same lineup in a large field DK GPP, Taylor?"
That sounds like what Roth's doing, so
I
think that's a good strategy.
I freaking love it, man. I had to go even cheaper than those guys in that game with Steph Curry, but I absolutely love it.
You might as well play Taylor's boy Beauchamp.
Oh, he's in. Yeah, he's already there. Yeah. What else do we got here? If the Lakers rest LeBron, is that a bump to Wood or Rui, and then bring it back with Fox, small field, and cash means? You cool with that?
I would say more of a bump to Rui. Then what was the other part of that question?
Could I bring that back with Fox?
I mean, yeah, I would. If you're like hammering that late game for tournaments, for cash, it's irrelevant if you need to bring him back or not.
Okay, great. Less than a minute left. Auto or P Will DK GPP, Taylor?
Sorry, what was that? You kind of dropped up for me.
Oh, sorry. Auto or P Williams DK GPP?
Williams for me.
Very good. Less than a minute. Let's see. Is IQ a good play? FanDuel single entry. IQ.
Quickly.
Thank you.
Not bad. I think he's around the same range as Melton. So if Embiid's out, I'd prefer Melton. But if not, yeah, I think you can play quickly.
All right. Very nice. And with that, we have hit the lock. One thing I should note, if you guys haven't checked out Sims Lab, I didn't get a chance to read this. If you haven't checked out Sims Lab, you got to do it. You can still try it for free right now. It's in beta. It's an awesome project. We've got it for NFL. Generates DFS lineups through the power of the Sims. Combines data from every aspect of the slate, churning out lineups that are correlated, matching your preferences. It's super easy. I did it, and I'm a DFS donkey. Took me a few clicks, and I built out 5 lineups, and I made money. So it's pretty great. It means you still all about this tool because I think it's fantastic.
It's like so easy to use. It's ridiculous. You like click 3 buttons and you're done. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and then the lineups are better than anything I could come up with.
Yeah,
because like it goes through. Like you always want to think in particular in single entry or in like showdown slates, you want to think about game script, right? That's the most important thing. And it does that for you. Like it comes up with game scripts for you and correlates. It's freaking phenomenal. Like it, yeah, it's pretty wonderful. So make sure you're checking it out. Sims Lab. It's free. Do it. Check it out. We got Thursday Night Football coming up. So you do it for tomorrow. Hey, with that, I think we're going to bounce on out of here. I got dinner plans, and I'm about to take down a GPP with Seth Curry bombing threes all night long.
You got to at least take this screenshot when halftime of the first game or before any other game starts, whatever.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. Yeah. And then you got to tweet one time.
Hold.
Yeah. Yes. Embiid warming up. I don't know if that is noteworthy.
That's not good.
Good for me.
It is good for you.
I got the Luca. All right. We are going to get on out of here. So for Taylor, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love it. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched. Hey, girlie.